Fighting depression and finding purpose, a message you need to hear. Let me be totally transparent with you. There was a time when I wanted to give up on life, completely. Everything in my world was falling apart. I lost a lot, my peace, my confidence, my purpose. And in those darkest moments, I started questioning everything. I questioned God. I questioned why life was so hard. I asked, why me? All those thoughts that we all wrestle with when life turns upside down. If you're in that place right now, if you're barely holding on, this message is for you. You need to hear this. You really do. Because I've been there too. But I had to come to a point where I asked myself the tough question, what am I truly fighting for? What am I really living for? And here's the thing, life has this clever, sneaky way of making you forget exactly who you are and what you're here for. It blinds you with pain and distraction. It numbs you with repetition. It wraps you in silence and keeps you stuck. Let me be honest with you. When I was in my depression, I wasn't really living, I was existing on repeat. I was doing the same things every day, things that kept digging me deeper into darkness. I was hoping and praying for change, begging for a miracle, but I wasn't changing anything about my behavior. I was holding on to the very routines, thoughts, and habits that were suffocating my joy. I was doing the same destructive things over and over again, expecting something new to happen. That's insanity. I didn't give gratitude. I didn't count my blessings. I couldn't see any goodness in my life. I was surrounded by hopelessness because that's all I allowed myself to focus on. It was like being stuck in a fog that wouldn't lift. And you know what? We're told by the world that if you don't have a romantic partner, if you don't have many friends, if you're unemployed or not doing something productive, then you're a failure. A loser. That comparison mindset, that hierarchy, tells us that unless you're thriving in every area of life, you're at the bottom. And when you feel like you're at the bottom, your brain literally produces less serotonin, which makes you even more sensitive to negative emotions and less capable of feeling the good ones. It's a vicious cycle. And true depression? It's not just having a terrible life. True depression is when there's a deep mismatch between who you are and who you believe you could be. It's when your self-perception drags you down, even if your potential is sky high. Here's what I've learned, suffering isn't evil. Suffering isn't the enemy. In fact, suffering can be sacred. The greatest people on this planet have suffered deeply. Why? Because suffering is part of transformation. Pain, loss, failure, these aren't punishments. They're preparation. Preparation for the next version of you. The stronger you. The wiser you. The one who shows up and says, "This didn't break me." The ego runs from suffering. The ego wants comfort and safety and approval. But your soul? Your soul wants growth. It wants depth. It wants meaning. It's not about living a life free from hardship. It's about developing the courage and character to walk through hardship and become stronger because of it. Because we are here to learn. We are here to grow. We are here to pass on wisdom, not just survive. You may have lost your fire. You may feel numb. But ask yourself, are you living someone else's dream? Did you accept average as your standard? Are you coasting in life instead of striving? You see, the fire dies when you stop competing with your past self. The fire dies when you stop raising your standards and start settling. You want fulfillment? Set a higher standard for your life. Do the work. Chase the dream. Build the thing you once thought was impossible. Because 90% of fulfillment doesn't come from the final reward, it comes from the process, the grind, the endurance. When depression or anxiety knock at your door, know this, sometimes the only way out is through. And sometimes, getting through means just getting through the next hour. You don't need to win the day, just win the moment. You keep showing up. You eat, even when you don't feel hungry. You get out of bed, even when you don't want to face the world. You talk to someone, even if your mind tells you to isolate. You row your boat through the storm, even if it's leaking. Even if you're drenched and exhausted. You just keep rowing. That's endurance. That's strength. And when it comes to anxiety, it's often the same, fear and uncertainty gripping your chest. But you keep going anyway. You take the step forward not because you're unafraid, but because you've decided something is more important than fear. That something is your future. Your well-being. Your family. Your calling. Your contribution to this world. And if you have to limp toward it, then limp. But don't stop. Let me tell you something about your conscience. Your conscience is your internal GPS. It doesn't scream, it whispers. And when you're not living in alignment with who you know you should be, it speaks through guilt, shame, sadness, and anxiety. Those negative emotions? They're not random. They're messages. They're telling you, you're not living as the person you're meant to be. So what do? You flip the switch. You say, I may not have been that man yesterday, but today, I will be. You start living in line with the man or woman you want to become. Because if you keep living life on repeat, hanging out with toxic people, obsessing over things you can't control, entertaining chaos, and drowning in distractions, you will continue creating the perfect recipe for stress, depression, and low self-worth. Let me say it again, if you do not break the cycle will break you. You have to get brutally honest with yourself. Ask yourself, if I keep living like this, where will I be in 5 years? Still miserable? Still anxious? Still stuck? If the answer is yes, then today is the day you change. I believe even powerlessness is a reminder, a loud one, that suffering is part of life. But it's not the end of your story. It's a chapter. A valley. A refining fire. And when insecurity rears its head, don't deny it, write about it. Talk to it. Question it. When you feel inferior, journal. When you feel weak, go for a walk in nature. Sit in stillness. Pray. Meditate. Process the pain instead of suppressing it. That's how you take your power back. Your feelings are valid, but they are not the final authority. Just because you feel worthless doesn't mean you are. Your feelings aren't God. They don't have the final say in your life. They don't know your future. They don't determine your worth. And here's something that set me free, I stopped letting my feelings control my decisions. Now, when depression or fear knock, I let them knock, but I don't let them in. They're not the ones driving anymore. I laugh at them sometimes. Not because I'm careless, but because I finally realized they have no real power over me unless I hand it to them. Instead of sitting in sadness, I started moving again. I created momentum. Momentum brings hope. Momentum brings purpose. Momentum brings a reason to keep going tomorrow. And it starts small. Just ask yourself, what are 3 simple things I can do today to make progress? That's it. 3 small wins. It may not feel like much, but it's a spark. And a spark is all you need to start a fire again. Do you know why so many people, nearly 86%, feel unfulfilled in life? Because they're not living in alignment with their radiance. They're living someone else's version of success. They're playing from a script they didn't write. If your soul burns orange, but someone is forcing you to live in blue, you're going to feel empty. You're not broken. You're misaligned. Don't let depression convince you that you're done. Don't let it tell you your best days are behind you. That you're not worthy. That you're a nobody. That you'd be better off gone. That's a lie. And it's been lying to you so long, you've started believing it. You need to dig up those seeds of doubt and replace them, right now, with seeds of truth. Here's how you fight depression. You speak truth, even when it doesn't feel true yet. You say, yes, I'm going through hell, but I'm still breathing. Yes, I'm hurting, but I'm still alive. Yes, I'm struggling, but this is not the end. You speak gratitude when it feels unnatural. You show up when it feels pointless. You love when you don't feel like it. Because that's how you defeat the darkness, not with denial, but with light. Your life still matters. You still matter. So today, start small. Start honest. Start with one decision that says, I'm not done yet.